Maya stood by the deep end, checking the chlorine levels in the water. The morning sun created dancing patterns of light on the turquoise bottom. Arthur approached the edge very slowly, clutching his bright orange swim ring. "Good morning. Are you here for the beginner lesson at 8 o'clock? I am, but I must admit the water looks incredibly deep today. Don't worry. The shallow end is much safer for a first start. My name is Maya, and I have taught hundreds of people to swim. I am Arthur, and my main skill is staying as dry as possible. That is a very difficult skill to maintain in a public swimming pool." Maya laughed gently, noticing how tightly he held the inflatable donut. "You can leave the donut on the bench for this particular session. Is it absolutely necessary to enter the water without my rubber friend? Learning to float on your own is much better for your confidence." Arthur looked at the sparkling surface with a mix of fear and curiosity. The water is heated to a perfect temperature for comfortable exercise today. I can feel the warmth rising from the pool already, which is nice. Put your goggles on so you can see the world beneath the waves. Arthur adjusted the blue straps until they were tight against his head. "Everything looks a bit blurry through the thick plastic lenses, Maya. That is normal before you submerge your face into the crystal liquid. I feel like a space explorer preparing for a very strange mission. Swimming is exactly like flying, but in a much thicker atmosphere. I prefer the idea of flying over the idea of sinking to the floor. My job is to make sure you stay exactly where you want to be." Maya pointed to the metal ladder leading down into the blue depths. "One step at a time is the best way to adjust to the change." Arthur reached out and gripped the cold steel handle with shaky hands. The first contact with the water felt like a soft, wet blanket. "It is not as cold as I imagined it would be this morning. Keep moving down until your shoulders are completely covered by the pool." The weight of his body seemed to disappear as he descended further. This sensation of lightness is actually quite pleasant and very relaxing. That is the magic of buoyancy working its invisible power on you. Maya walked along the edge, keeping a close eye on his movements. "I think I'm ready to let go of the ladder for a second." "Excellent. Just keep your feet flat on the bottom of the pool." Arthur stood in the chest-deep water, feeling a small sense of pride. "You have officially completed the hardest part of the entire first lesson. I am still standing, and I haven't turned into a fish yet. Give it 10 more minutes, and you might change your mind." Maya sat on her heels at the very edge of the blue pool. "The next step is learning how to breathe properly while moving. I usually breathe through my nose, which seems to work well on land. In the water, we practice blowing bubbles through the mouth instead." Arthur watched as Maya demonstrated a perfect, rhythmic exhaling technique. "It looks like you were trying to talk to the hidden fish. It creates a steady pressure that keeps water out of your nose. I will try to blow a few bubbles without panicking, I promise." Arthur dipped his chin into the water and made a soft sound. "That was a great start, but try to make the bubbles bigger." He went deeper, and a cloud of silver spheres rose to the surface. "I did it, and I didn't even swallow a single drop of chlorine. Your lungs are getting used to the different rhythm of the pool." Maya handed him a yellow kickboard that was floating nearby today. "This will be your best friend for the next 20 minutes of class. It feels much more reliable than my orange donut friend," Arthur noted. "Hold it with both hands and stretch your arms out straight. I feel like I'm a professional athlete in a very small way." Confidence is 50% of the work in this sport, Arthur. The other 50% is probably not forgetting to kick your legs. Exactly. Keep your knees soft and your toes pointed like a dancer. Arthur started to move across the lane, creating a small wake behind. Keep your head down and look at the blue lines on the floor. The lines are there to help you stay in a perfectly straight path. I feel like I'm following a highway at the bottom of the sea. You are moving much faster than you were 5 minutes ago. Look. Arthur reached the other side and grabbed the concrete edge with joy. I actually traveled 10 whole meters without any help from the ladder. You're a natural swimmer hiding under a nervous exterior, I think. Maybe there is a shark in my family tree somewhere back in time. Maya smiled and checked her silver whistle against her blue suit. Let's try to do the same thing, but without the yellow board. That sounds like a much more dangerous challenge for my skills. I will be right beside you, holding my hand out for safety. Arthur took a deep breath and pushed off from the side of the pool. His arms moved in a slow, circular motion through the heavy water. For a few seconds, he was truly floating on his own power. The feeling of the water rushing past his ears was completely new. You're doing it, Arthur. You are finally swimming on your own. He stopped and stood up, wiping the water from his fog goggles.
Tell me why you want to learn English. The 3 most interesting comments will get 10 English lessons absolutely free.
Maya threw a small red ring into the middle of the shallow area. Your mission is to glide toward that target with your arms forward. Gliding sounds much more elegant than what I'm currently doing. It is all about body position and staying as flat as a leaf. Arthur prepared himself, looking at the red circle on the blue floor. Push off the wall with both feet to gain some initial speed. He launched himself forward, feeling the resistance of the water vanish. He slid through the liquid like a silent, slow-motion torpedo today. Maya watched the stopwatch, impressed by his natural sense of balance. You reached the target in less than 5 seconds of pure gliding. I felt like I was flying through a bright blue dream for a moment. That is the feeling that keeps professional swimmers coming back every day. I'm starting to understand why people enjoy this blue environment so much. The water takes away the stress of gravity and the outside world. I forgot all about my work emails and my broken car while moving. The pool is a perfect place to reset your mind and your body. Maya noticed a group of kids jumping into the far end of the pool. Their splashes created small waves that rocked Arthur's steady position. Don't let the waves disturb your focus or your breathing rhythm. I will try to remain as calm as a stone in a mountain stream. Let's try to add the arm movements to your steady leg kicks. This is where the coordination becomes a little bit more complicated. Maya, think of your arms as large paddles pulling the water behind you. Arthur started the crawl stroke, splashing a bit more than necessary. Keep your fingers together to catch more water in your palms. It feels like I'm trying to climb an invisible ladder horizontally. That is a very accurate description of how the freestyle stroke works. He reached the end of the lane, breathing heavily, but smiling wide. I think I'm actually getting the hang of this whole swimming thing. Your technique is improving with every single lap you complete today. Maya checked the clock on the wall of the large indoor hall. We have 10 minutes left before the public session starts to get busy. I want to try and swim the entire length of the shallow part. I will walk along the side and count your strokes for you. Arthur put his goggles back down and disappeared under the surface. 1, 2, 3, breathe. The rhythm was becoming much more natural. He felt the cool water flowing over his back and his shoulders. The blue floor moved past him like a silent movie in slow motion. When he touched the far wall, he felt like a gold medalist. I did it. I really swam the whole distance without stopping once. Maya helped Arthur climb out of the water for a short break. Your heartbeat is steady, which means you are not overexerting yourself. I feel like I could run a marathon or at least walk to the cafe. The water has a way of hiding how much energy you are using. Arthur sat on the warm tiles, looking at his wet orange donut. I think I can give that donut to someone who really needs it. You have officially graduated from needing inflatable toys in this pool. I feel much more athletic than I did at 7:30 this morning. Maya showed him a diagram of the human muscles used in swimming. Your shoulders and your core are doing most of the work now. I can feel a slight tingle in my arms that I never felt before. That is the feeling of progress and physical strength growing in you. Would you like to try a gentle jump from the side of the pool? Jumping sounds like a very brave thing for a former non-swimmer. It is a great way to overcome the final remains of your hesitation. I will start with a small hop instead of a giant leap, Maya. Stand on the very edge and curl your toes over the concrete lip. Arthur looked down at the swirling water beneath his bare feet today. It looks much further away when you're standing up high like this. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just let yourself fall. He squeezed his eyes shut and stepped into the empty blue air. The splash was loud and messy, but the feeling was exhilarating. He popped back up to the surface like a bright orange cork. That was amazing. I want to do it again immediately. The fear had completely vanished, replaced by pure, childish excitement. Swimming is about finding your inner child and letting it play freely. I haven't felt this much energy since I was 10 years old. Maya checked her clipboard to mark the progress of the morning lesson. You have passed every single objective I set for our first hour. I might even sign up for the advanced class next month, Maya. Let's master the backstroke before we try any Olympic turns, Arthur. The backstroke sounds like a nice way to look at the ceiling. It is very relaxing, but you have to trust your sense of direction. I will trust you to tell me if I'm going to hit the wall. I will be your human radar and shout if you get too close. Arthur leaned back into the water, letting it support his weight again. The world was upside down, and the ceiling lights looked like stars. This is the most peaceful I have felt in a very long time. Just float there for a minute and enjoy the silence of the pool. The water was a quiet world where everything moved with grace. The pool was slowly filling with more people as the day progressed. Maya pointed to the fast lane where experienced swimmers were moving quickly. One day, you'll be in that lane doing 60 laps an hour. For now, I am very happy to stay in the slow and steady lane. Arthur practiced his kicking, creating a rhythmic splashing sound in the hall. You're using too much force. Try to be more efficient with energy. I'm trying to scare away any imaginary sharks in the deep end. Maya laughed, her whistle bouncing against her teal-colored swimming suit. There are no sharks here, only a few friendly senior citizens in caps. I see Mrs. Higgins. She is swimming much faster than me today. She has been coming here every morning for over 35 years. Arthur, I have a lot of catching up to do if I want to match her speed. Everyone starts at the same place, right at the edge of the water. Arthur felt a sense of community in the shared blue space of the pool. People were nodding to each other and sharing the lanes with respect. It is a very polite sport compared to football or basketball games. The water forces everyone to be calm and focused on their own breath. I'm starting to feel a bit hungry after all this morning exercise. Swimming burns more calories than almost any other form of light activity. I think I earned a very large breakfast with extra pancakes today. Just make sure you wait an hour before you come back for more. I don't want to sink to the bottom like a heavy stone pancake. Maya checked her waterproof watch and signaled the end of the lesson. You did a fantastic job today, Arthur, truly beyond my expectations. I couldn't have done it without your patience and your yellow board. The board is always here for you, but you are a swimmer now. I like the sound of that word. It makes me feel very capable. Arthur swam to the ladder and climbed out with a confident stride. He didn't even reach for his orange donut ring on the bench today. My legs feel a bit like jelly, but my heart feels very light. That is the sign of a successful workout in the urban swimming pool. Maya handed him a dry towel that was hanging on the silver rack. The warmth of the fabric felt wonderful against his wet, cool skin. I will be back on Thursday at the same time for lesson number 2. I will prepare some new challenges for your growing swimming skills. I am ready for anything, even the dreaded backstroke without a board. You are becoming a very brave explorer of the Blue Kingdom, Arthur. He walked toward the locker rooms, whistling a happy little tune today. The pool reflected the bright midday sun through the glass roof. It was a perfect day for a dip in the heart of the city. Arthur emerged from the locker room, dressed and smelling like fresh soap. Maya was talking to a new student who looked as nervous as he had. He walked over to them, carrying his deflated orange donut in his hand. "Excuse me, I think you might find this very useful for your start." The new student looked at the donut and smiled with a bit of relief. "Thank you. I was worried about the depth of the water in there." "Don't worry. The trainer here is the best in the entire country today." Arthur gave Maya a friendly wink and headed toward the main exit. He looked back one last time at the shimmering blue surface of the pool. It no longer looked like a scary mystery, but like a friendly friend. The heavy glass doors closed behind him as he stepped onto the street. The city noise felt much louder after the quiet peace of the water. He felt taller, stronger, and much more awake than usual this morning. A group of tourists asked him for directions to the local park area. He answered them with a big smile and a very confident, clear voice. The discipline of the pool was already affecting his daily life outside. He reached the cafe and ordered his pancakes with a side of fruit. "I will have the blueberry ones. They match the color of the pool." The waiter noticed the wet hair and the goggles hanging from his bag. "Have you been for a swim this morning? You look very refreshed today." "I have, and it was the best decision I have made all year long." Arthur ate his breakfast while watching the people rush past the window. They all looked so busy and stressed compared to the swimmers inside. He decided to make the pool a permanent part of his weekly routine. "On Thursday, I will try to swim 20 laps without any help at all." He felt a new sense of purpose and a new love for the water. Maya was right. The water is a world where you can truly fly. He opened his notebook and wrote down his goals for the next month. Learn the butterfly stroke was at the very bottom of the long list. It was an ambitious goal, but he felt ready for the big challenge. The sun was high in the sky, and the day was full of possibilities. He walked home, feeling the muscles in his back working with every step. The pool had changed him in just one short hour of morning time. He was no longer the man who was afraid of getting his hair wet. He was Arthur the swimmer, explorer of the deep blue city pool. He put his goggles on the shelf, ready for the next adventure soon. The orange donut sat in the corner, a memory of his past fears. He smiled, knowing that he would never need it ever again in life. The summer was just beginning, and the water was always waiting there. Everything was perfect as the clock struck noon in the quiet house.